long day at school, I did what most of us children do to relax. I was watching TV while eating my mom's famous dosas. In a particular scene that I was watching, there was this line that cut quite deep. We are what they grow beyond. The choices we make now are the mirrors they would reflect upon. That line perfectly describes something we don't talk about enough, which you probably guessed. Generation Beta. For centuries, that quiet tension between each generation has shaped the way we see the future. Looking back, every generation thought that the next one was doomed. Our grandparents looked at their children and wondered if the world was moving too fast. They grew up believing hard work guaranteed stability. One job, one house, one retirement plan, set. Our parents, Gen X, looked at us and claimed, oh, kids these days. And I have an older brother. So half the time I'm clueless why I'm getting scolded when he's the one actually doing something wrong. But then, the millennials told that they were lazy for struggling in a broken system. And then me, Srinika Sendil Kumar, or at least the generation that I'm a part of, Generation Z, were the generation growing up between two worlds, a world where tradition continues to hold its ground, even as a new generation begins to question them. I'm sure all of us have felt that tension, wanting change, but fearing what that change could cost. Imagining someone growing up in a world where that pressure starts even earlier is downright suffocating. And that's where Generation Beta will be. They'll grow up in a world layered with complexity, not because it's broken, but because it's evolving. And it's evolving faster than ever. Who exactly is Generation Beta? Well, according to Wikipedia, Generation Beta refers to the demographic cohort born between 2025 and 2039. Often referred to as beta babies, they're expected to live through the dawn of the 22nd century. Imagine, some of the beta babies could live to see the year 2100, where global problems like climate change and economic instability aren't just distant headlines, but everyday realities. To these people, artistic expressions are of more value. Music, dance, language, and culture aren't just anchors of identity anymore. Rather, they are currents, constantly shifting with the tides of change. A teenager in Chennai could be listening to American music, watching Korean shows, and celebrating local festivals, all on the same day. So, culture is no longer fixed. It's fluid. And Generation Beta will grow up inside that fluidity. Our grandparents grew up in communities where identity came from language, family, and tradition. Our parents saw culture expand through globalization and television. My generation grew up with something a little different. The world I come from, culture shifts fascinatingly. Ideas cross borders faster than ever. And Generation Beta will grow up in a world where cultural identity is not frozen in the past. It keeps evolving as new generations engage with it. They may celebrate traditions while also reinventing them, question customs that older generations would have accepted, not because they reject culture, but because they are simply trying to understand it. And that's not defiance. It's simply how culture grows. In that movie I was talking about, Star Wars, the protagonist lives in an advanced environment. And that got me thinking, how did much of this cultural transformation happen? Could it be because of technology? For Generation Beta, technology won't be some hi-fi innovation. It'll feel like air, everywhere, invisible, and impossible to live without. It'll be both a powerful ally and a quiet threat, empowering them in ways we never imagined, while also challenging their ideas, attention, and independence. Take a child trying to solve a puzzle. Nothing difficult, just something that requires a little bit of patience. Maybe a tricky math problem. Maybe a science experiment that didn't work the first time. In the past, that moment of confusion would have meant something. The child would wonder where he went wrong. He'd try again, get frustrated if it didn't work out. He'd think for himself. But imagine that same moment today. Instead of sitting with the problem, the child can simply ask an AI assistant, and within seconds, the answer appears clear, confident, instant. The puzzle is solved. But the struggle, the part where thinking actually happens, quietly disappears. And when every answer is answered the same way, something else can begin to fade as well. Individuality. Because forming your own ideas requires doubt, debate, exploration, requires wandering through different possibilities before choosing what you believe. But if every question was answered the same way, the child may begin to trust the system more rather than they do their own instincts. Not because they are incapable of thinking, but because they rarely need to. And over time, that dependence on AI could grow to such a large extent where it could feel like something else is thinking, deciding, and living their life for them. Moving on. What about relationships? People often talk about technology, careers, the issues they'll face, including me. But what we often fail to focus upon are the relationships they'll forge. Who did we start building relationships with? For most of us, it started with our family, relatives, and then it moved on to our friends. Each day brings a new face into our lives. And these relationships were built slowly. We laughed, we argued over something, we connected, we fought. But we always made up. Time did the work. Time turned strangers into best friends. Time showed us that not every silence meant something was wrong. I think about the closest relationships that I have, the ones that have survived silly arguments and long gaps without talking. We didn't stay close because everything was perfect. We stayed close because we chose to stay. And that staying took time. I once had this huge argument with a friend that today I can't even remember what it was about. At that time, it felt huge. Weeks went by before we eventually cleared everything up and gave each other the space. Time, it made our relationship stronger. In the future, connections that are made will be instant. One swipe, one scroll, one recommendation. They'll know what it means to be seen without ever forming real relationships. And speed, it's not the same as depth. They may be surrounded by interaction, yet starved of intimacy, surrounded by people, yet unsure of belonging, connected to many, yet deeply alone. Friendship for them may just be shaped by shared attention rather than shared experience. Who you follow, who follows you back, who responds quickly, who disappears. Family relationships will shift too, because they'll be raised by parents who didn't grow up with the same tools as them, but will raise children who will never know life without it. Authority, it won't just come from age, it will come from trust. They will ask for answers, they will question, they'll need explanations, not obedience. And that's not rebellion. That's simply being aware. And yet, despite all of this, despite the fact that they could be more emotionally aware than the kids of my generation, something deeply human remains unchanged. They'll crave love, unconditional love. They'll want to be seen without performing, to belong without proving their worth. No algorithm can change that. No technology can stimulate that feeling of being seen by another person. So, yes, they will form relationships, but will they learn to stay in them? What if we can model that for them by practicing patience, empathy, and genuine human connection? We could actually build something sustainable for the future. Then Generation Beta won't just redefine relationships, they'll develop them into something more deeper with a human perspective. Now that we've established that Generation Beta will probably be the most emotionally aware generation ever, couldn't they also be the most emotionally overwhelmed? They'll grow up seeing global crisis in real time, feeling pressure to fix everything, living online before fully understanding who they are offline. I think about how long it took me to figure out who I was without the whole world watching. A year ago, I went on this trip and I remember posting a couple of pictures about it. Nothing big, maybe one or two pictures. But what I also remember was my mom saying, "Shrinika, stop looking at your phone every minute." You see, I kept checking social media to see who saw it and who didn't. It was not at all important, no. But to me, it felt like it was. I hated that feeling, that quiet dependence on numbers, that tiny shift in mood depending on who saw it and who didn't. And imagining someone growing up in a world where that pressure starts even earlier is downright suffocating. Before they can form full sentences, some algorithm already knows what music they like, how long their attention span is, or even what makes them laugh. Everything I've spoken about today points down to one single thing: evolution. For the longest time, evolution meant progress, becoming smarter, faster, more upgraded. But here's the thing: what if the evolution we're talking about isn't just advancement? What if it's human? Because right now, we're entering a time where we have to ask ourselves, what does it mean to evolve as a human being? Is it to know everything, or to still question? Is it to always be in touch, or to truly feel connected? Is it to have all the answers, or to still make space for doubt, curiosity, and thought? Generation Beta will grow up in a world where almost anything is possible. But being human has never been about that. It's been about their decisions, actions, and choices to pause when everything moves too fast, to stay when things get uncomfortable, to think when answers are handed to us, to feel when it's easier not to. That's where real evolution lies. Amidst the chaos we call our world, Generation Beta could create the calm. Because one day, they will grow up. They look at the world around them, the systems, the habits, the lives we've built. And it will be up to the upcoming generation to decide what to carry forward and what to leave behind. And in those moments, while they'll be shaping the world, they'll also be redefining it in a completely new sense by just being human. And who knows? Maybe that's what evolution has been about all along. Thank you.